Is it time to reveal your real magic and become seen, known, and valued? Hello, hope you're having a great week. Hi, I'm Rionach, and today I'm talking about growing your capacity for visibility. So what is capacity? Capacity is the reality of my physical body, whereas desire is what I want to experience. It might be what my heart, my soul, my mind wants to experience. It could also be the expectations that my mind has about how things should turn out in a certain way, what I think should be happening. And so the desires come from this realm of the mind, the heart, the soul, but they come from this part of us, this part of you and me that's infinite, where, and our minds are not something that they don't get tired, they don't bump into furniture, they don't, scrape their legs. It's the body that has capacity. So the capacity comes from the body. Our body has needs. It needs to eat and sleep and drink and rest and have hugs and have fun and play and feel nourished. So, and when we're in this dance, and it is a beautiful dance between our desires and our capacity, it's an ongoing dance. When our capacity matches our desire, we create things easily. So often when we're struggling to create something, our desire is because our capacity is not quite matching it. And let me share a story about this for you and see what you relate to in your own experience. What are you already feeling with this? What happens for you when your capacity doesn't match your desire? So I remember in 2014, I had a huge soul desire, and I was really proud of myself for going for it because it was stretching me massively beyond my capacity, which was to create a summit called Poetry Alchemy for Our Times, where I was interviewing amazing leaders about the power of poetry to create transformation. And as part of my steps on this journey, I wanted to create a little welcome video on the registration page of the website, a little short video to tell people a little bit what the summit was about and why they might want to register. But I had never recorded a video before, and I didn't like having my photo taken. And it was a huge stretch for me to record this video that was going to be up online where anybody could see it. And I had all this mind noise of, I don't like my voice. I don't know how I look on video. I don't know what to say. What will people think? Who might see it? And this really, it was something that really mattered to me, and it felt very vulnerable to be coming out and sharing this soul passion that I had for poetry. So there was a lot of noise going on. And at the same time, I was, working as a CEO, leading a team of 100, stepping up and doing presentations. So in another area of my life, I had a lot of capacity, or was growing, a lot of capacity for visibility and leadership in that area. But in this area, this was my soul calling and purpose, and it felt tremendously vulnerable. So the capacity here was quite low. So I hired a coach, and I knew I would need a lot of support in creating all of these new things that I'd never done before. I'm putting myself out there in a huge new way. And my coach was on Skype. This was in the days before Zoom. She was on Skype and supporting me to record this video because I had my phone out there in front of me and was hitting record. And every time I tried to speak on the video, I would just freeze. And the tears were rolling down my cheeks and spoiling my makeup, and I was just frozen. Because my capacity was definitely not matching my desire, and that was why it was really great to have somebody on the other end of the line. She lived in another country, but really supporting me and holding me through this process to grow my capacity. But she was at a bit of a loss as to how to calm my system down and help me to feel safe. And then her intuition said, Rionach, speak a poem. And I took a moment to tune in, and the words of a poem came to me, and so I just spoke them. And I'll share this poem with you now. It's a poem called Walk Slowly by Dana Falls. It only takes a reminder to breathe, a moment to be still, and just like that, something in me softens, settles, makes space for imperfections. The harsh voice of judgment drops to a whisper, and I remember again that life isn't a relay race, that we will all cross the finish line, that waking up to life is what we were born for. And as many times as I forget and catch myself charging forward without even knowing where I'm going, that many times I can make the choice to stop, to breathe, to be, and walk slowly into the mystery. And this poem, as I spoke it back then to my coach, it shifted my energy completely, and it shifted hers. And then she was the one that was in tears because I'd spoken to something so deep in her. And it because I had capacity in this area of poetry, I knew this poem, I had embodied it. It medicine, I could activate that in me. And when I spoke it from that place, I activated that in others. And that gave me the capacity to finish the recording and finish the video and know that, yes, this is the perfect invitation for people to the summit, is to share a poem that's going to touch their hearts. And then they will know through this transmission whether this is for them or not. So it was perfect on so many levels. So, the reason I'm sharing this story and this topic with you today is that when we're stepping into new levels of visibility, it's often the case that we're driven by a desire, and hopefully a soul desire, and sometimes it's a ego desire or a mind expectation, I should be doing this. But there can be a lot of stretching in to new places, and not so much attention to what capacity do I have to fulfill this desire. Where is my body at? And how can I grow that capacity step by step to match your desire? It's easy to lose focus of this capacity, or to beat ourselves up for not having it, because we're not even asking the question, how does my body feel about this? Where is my capacity for this? So when we focus on building capacity, and this is one of the three pillars that I focus on in my work, is one is clearing the visibility blocks, and the second is cultivating your visibility superpowers, cultivating your capacity to be visible, to hold yourself, to relax, to feel safe, to receive in the dynamics with others. So what can you relate to here? What's your experience around your desires versus your capacities, and when you can embrace you and grow your capacity versus when you've stretched beyond your capacity. Where have you, as we've all done, no judgment here, as we've all done, stretched too far too soon because your capacity didn't match your desire? And this is how we set ourselves up for failure and not success, and that's okay because we learn from our failures. There's no judgment there either. But sometimes we can be unkind to ourselves. So, one example, like for me, that really helped me, when this is a few years later, I started doing Facebook Lives, and it felt very vulnerable and it felt like a real stretch. And it was like, ooh, Facebook Lives. I'm sure many of you have either been through that initiation or maybe are still leaning into it. And what was really helpful for me was to do short 5-minute Facebook Lives where I would show up, I would introduce a poem, I would speak the poem because I knew, I was like, this works for me. This helps me relax and come in to safety in myself. I would speak a little bit about the poem and I would end the video. And it was just 5 minutes, show up, speak a poem, speak about that, and then done. And I was doing that regularly for months. And that really grew my capacity for the particular medium of Facebook Lives. And then I got to a place where I'm comfortable with the tech. I know how to relax my system in this context. So that's that's one way of growing capacity, is starting small, starting with something where you already have capacity or that gives you capacity. So for you it might be, when I'm out for a walk in nature, I feel relaxed, I'm expanded, and maybe I'll get my phone out then and record a video or an audio or do a live. So whatever it is, or after you come back from your walk, so it's really harnessing the capacity you already have, starting small and growing, knowing I can grow my capacity. I don't have to make a leap beyond or too far beyond where I am. And, on the other end of the spectrum, I've also done the other one. Very early in my business, I created a group program and launched it, and, was a bit devastated when nobody signed up. But I hadn't created my own original body of work at that point. I was pulling together a lot of other people's ideas and spending a lot of time researching and giving people a lot of information, and it was good stuff, but it wasn't really aligned for me. So although, it can seem like, launching at that point, and the fact that nobody signed up, that there was some self-sabotage going on there because, I didn't create a very potent launch. But in some ways I was also saving myself from being in a position where I had to deliver something that wasn't aligned and that I was working way too hard on. So what ended up happening instead was taking one person through that process and focusing for a few years on one-to-one coaching to get clear on what I was offering, what was needed, what was working. And then from there, when I was ready to launch group programs. So sometimes our capacity will look like it's self-sabotaging us. Your capacity might throw you a wobble where, your body gives in at the last minute, or, your fears just freeze you and you're kind of going, I can't do this, or this isn't working. And it can seem like your capacity is self-sabotaging you, but actually it can be saving you instead. It can be in touch with the reality of the capacity you have right now. So what do you relate to here? Where have you noticed, what you thought might have been self-sabotage was actually your capacity saving you and not wanting you to be in a position that it wasn't going to work for you. So how do you build capacity? So, like I did in that example, is getting support from somebody else who can hold space for you, whether that's a friend or a coach or a group, somebody who's got capacity to hold space and help you grow into your next level is great. And then there's also that borrowing capacity from one area and lending it into another, or just dropping in to the part of you that is on board, that is aligned, and growing that, spending time with that. So for me, creating this poetry summit, which was a huge stretch in terms of visibility and getting out there and reaching hundreds of people, but the poems themselves were growing and building my capacity, and they are an incredible way. I'll share a little bit more about that shortly. They are an incredible way to build capacity. So what gives you capacity? It might be walking in nature, it might be dancing, it might be hanging out with friends. So it might be cooking. What gives your body capacity? It might be meditation, it might be centering your energy, it might be clearing other people's energies. So, just notice what builds your capacity, and also that starting small and taking the next step and the next step and keeping it simple and not overwhelming your capacity with desiring these huge leaps that, create stress and just are not sustainable for you as well. So we grow our capacity a lot through presence, because a lot of capacity comes from feeling safe in our bodies, from the nervous system, not going into fight, flight, or freeze. So listening to your body and checking in. If you're thinking, if you're feeling into a desire, I desire this, I desire to do this program, I desire to launch this offer, I desire to, create this video or write this post. How does your body feel about it? How does your body feel? And that doesn't have to be, even if your body is kind of stretched, if you listen to your body long enough or give it capacity, go for that walk, take some time on the sofa with your body and really feel into what it needs. That can sometimes relax it. And then you get the clarity and, I'll do it this way, or I'll take this next step. And it can guide you. It can guide you, and your body can lead you towards your desires if you check in with your capacity and giving yourself the resources you need. It's like, I need a break before I come back to this. It's recognizing that you're stretching on a new level and that taking these breaks is really important for this next level. It's like, actually, me taking 10 minutes on the sofa when I'm feeling stressed out is me doing my work, is me growing my capacity so I can come back and give from this full place. It really calms down your nervous system and creates that inner safety. So, and as I was sharing, working deeply with a poem is a really powerful tool for building capacity. And this is, the process that I teach people, both in my one-to-one work and my group programs, of embodying a poem. When you slow it down, you're listening to your body, and you're bringing presence to the parts that don't have capacity, and you're listening to them. And as you visit and revisit each line, each word, you're trying it on, you're noticing your responses, you're noticing, that's a stretch. There's a memory surfacing there. There's this story around this piece that I'm speaking. And you're also often being held and witnessed in a loving, powerful field with another person, because they can also bring capacity of the witnessing to you. And parts of you that haven't had capacity can come into view to be seen, to be felt, to be witnessed, to be listened to, and bring their wisdom to you. And as you surrender both to the wisdom of the poem and the wisdom of your own body, the wisdom of your soul's voice, you can stretch beyond your known responses, your known limits, and kind of go, oh, yes, it's possible for me to go beyond my habits of hesitation, my habits of playing small. And I can hold space for the parts of me that are contracting and hiding in a loving way and be with them rather than pushing past them. And then what happens is all these parts of you come into coherence. And coherence is that all parts are lined up in the same direction rather than I desire this, but this part is kind of going, no, that's too much. But slowly, and maybe faster than you think, you can come into this coherence. And when you come into coherence, when you bring on board all the parts that are resisting, through their presence, you reduce the inner friction, and that's when magic happens. So you can do this in many ways. I love doing it, through embodying poems, and there's different poems. There's the right poem, the right time for each thing. So different poems to grow your capacity for self-love, self-acceptance, self-compassion. That can be the medicine that's needed. Or it could be taking up space, being too much, really, stepping into leadership, owning your fierce voice, setting boundaries. So really growing your capacity for kind of going, yeah, I'm here. I'm gonna take a stand here and not be overly influenced by other people's energies. It can be capacity for a new beginning and vulnerable next step. Oof, I've got a lot of capacity here, but this new thing is stretching me into a new level of capacity. There are poems for that, or for self-trust, for following your knowing, for letting go of the critics, both the inner critics and the outer critics, of deepening your spirituality, committing to your soul's path, and poems for letting the right people in, calling in your people and being clear on who that's not, so you're feeling energetically safe of the people that are coming through my energetic doors are my people, and those others can stay a bit further out. So what are you taking away from this? What are you sensing has been happening for you around desires versus capacity, and how can you grow your capacity for visibility? What is it that builds your capacity, and how can you bring more of that in when you're stretching in new ways? I'd love to hear from you, so leave a comment wherever you're watching this, and this is something that I teach in my Magnetic Presence program. And save the date, because I'm going to be offering that as a 3-day retreat in February. So 23rd to 25th of February 2023, I'm going to be offering for the first time a 3-day Magnetic Presence retreat. So online. So details of that will be coming soon. If you would love to join, just message me. Just send me a message and I'll add your name to the waiting list for that. And I also offer this in my Visibility Superpowers Experience mini coaching package, and that's where we either have a chat or you fill in a form and you let me know what's going on for you. I give you a poetry prescription of 6 to 8, sometimes 10 poems that you choose from, and we come together for a 90-minute session. We do some deep work on the poem and the rewiring. We do some energy work if there needs to be some energy released, visibility blocks cleared, and then we come together a week or 2 later for an integration session where you know how you are taking those new energies forward into the world. It's really, really powerful. And then if you want to do some further coaching work with me, you can, or if you're good to go, that's also good. So let me know what you're taking away from this. Share your insights in the comments, and I will speak to you again soon. Bye for now.